giving me the breath of life, and just continuing to strengthen my body each day as I move forward. Sometimes I feel so tired and have been feeling the best, but I thank God for just his added strength that he gives me. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to witness to a young man that I, at a place of business that I go to. And everyone there pretty much knows me and knows that I stand for the Lord Jesus Christ. And so they're usually cautious about things that they say, and they're always looking out the corner of their eye to see if I'm in their area, anywhere near them, and they usually curb their language. And something happened on Friday where two gentlemen got into quite a heated verbal confrontation, and there were some words used that shouldn't have been used. And I said, Lord, give me the opportunity to speak to the gentleman who had said those things. And as I was leaving, I had paid for the purchases that I was going to have that evening, and that morning, and I was leaving. I was driving out in my car, and there he stood, getting ready to get into his car. And when we move, we always want to move as the Lord would have us move. Say, Lord, what would you have me to say? How would you have me to say it? And as I pulled up, right next to where he was, I rolled down my window. And he looked over at me. And he dropped his head, he dropped his eyes. And he waited. It was almost as if he was expecting and waiting for me to chastise him about his language. And the Lord just didn't lead me to come at him aggressively. I just, I spoke in a way. I just said, well, you know that what you said over there earlier, that didn't please God. And he dropped his head even lower and he said, I know, Mrs. Holmes, I'm so sorry. But he just made me mad. I said, I don't care what he did. I don't care how mad he made you. I said, now you put God to an open shame over there. And he just started just apologizing. I'm so sorry. You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm so sorry. And I said, basically you're going to have to take that up with God. I said, but be watchful of the things that you say. Every word that comes out of our mouth, the Bible says we're going to give an account thereof in the day of judgment. And I thank God for him receiving it in the spirit that it was given. And I thank the Lord for just continuing to move even in that day. And I was so tired that day, and I had, my leg was really bothering me. And Pastor Holmes and I decided that we would go by Chick-fil-A and grab some lunch. And I was really so tired, I wanted to just sit in the car and just say, just go get my food and bring it back. But something urged me to get out of the car. With all that I was going through, I got on out of the car because I wanted to go inside and wash my hands. I went to the restroom, washed my hands, came back, got in the line. Well, before that, I was walking up to the Chick-fil-A, and I noticed this woman. And she was walking with a younger child, maybe she could be about 15, but the lady had some age on her. And she was very neatly dressed, and she was walking. She had a little cane, and she's walking to the door. And she was a little bit ahead of me, so I thought she was going to go on in the door, and that would have been fine. She waited at the door. She held the door open for me. And as I got up to where she was, I said, thank you so much. And I took the door, and she said, you're welcome. And she went on in. And so that's when I went in and washed my hands. I got in the line, got my food. And I was at my table, sitting down, waiting for them to call my name. And this same woman came over to where I was, and she sat at the table right across from me. And we go through life and we have issues and we have things going on with us. And we never really think about I'm going through this right now, but there may be somebody else that has a burden that they're carrying that's heavier than mine. Think about that. We just go through life. So this woman came and she sat next to me, and she looked over at me, she smiled, and I was really just trying to not, be into what she was doing. And she got short-winded for some reason. So she pulled out her little asthma thing and put it in her mouth, and she squirted it. And the young girl that was with her said, "Are you okay?" She did her like this. She's counting on her fingers. And then she nodded that she was okay. I'm seeing all of this here, but I'm not looking in that direction. I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable. And she leans over and she looks at me. And she says, I'm battling lung cancer. I've never smoked a day in my life. But I'm battling lung cancer. And of course, then I turned and I looked at her and I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she said, I had a different type of cancer earlier, and I beat that, but it came back as lung cancer. And my heart just, is something different. And I began to pray for her. And she said, it's okay. They have me in hospice. If any of you know what hospice is, it's a place where they send you when there's no more hope for you. She said, I'm in hospice, but she perked her head up and she said, I'm going to keep it moving. She said, and when the Lord gets ready for me,
thank you, Jesus.
He going to come get me.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I'm telling you, it was just a different kind of perspective on life. That here's this woman that's carrying this type of burden on her shoulders. She was the most pleasant person. She was so thoughtful. She was so kind. She was so generous. And she had the biggest smile on her face. But she's walking around carrying this burden. But the thing that she said stuck out to me. She kind of reminded me of myself when she said, I'm going to keep it moving. Even though I'm carrying all of this, I'm going to keep it moving. And she kept it moving. She's a small stature. She kept it moving. To look at her, you would have never known or never even thought about what she was going through. She said, I'm going to keep it moving. But when the Lord gets ready for me, she said, he's going to come and get me. So she wasn't worried about it. She said, when he gets ready, not anybody else, but when he gets ready, he's going to come and take me home. And with that, she said, you have a nice day. And she left me there with this, what's y'all call the stuck face. I said, Lord, I just prayed a blessing over her life. And I'm going to share this little poem that kind of, I thought about her, and I read this poem, and it reminded me, I guess, sort of her. It's the oak tree. It says, a mighty wind blew night and day. It stole the oak's leaves away, then snapped its boughs and pulled its bark until the oak was tired and stark. But still the oak tree held its ground, while other trees fell all around. The weary wind gave up and spoke. How can you still be standing, oak? The oak tree said, I know that you can break each branch of mine in two, carry every leaf away. You can shake my limbs and make me sway, but I have roots stretched in the earth, growing stronger and stronger since my birth. You'll never touch them, for you see, they are the deepest and most innermost parts of me. Until today, I wasn't sure of just how much I could endure. But now I've found, with thanks to you, I'm stronger than I ever knew.